Flying is a major part of my job. Each week for the past 20 years, I've traveled from city to city on various business meetings. During that time, I've flown enough to join the Million Mile High Club. I love it. But there's aspects of flying even I can't handle. Crying babies, limited leg space, people listening to music too loud. The list goes on. Luckily, I've developed the perfect system throughout the years. It includes a neck pillow, a sleeping pill, closed shades, and earbuds. Unfortunately, during my last flight, the survival kit had gone missing during check-in. Without it, I was doomed to suffer through a long, sleepless flight. Of course, I was also seated behind someone who couldn't stop crying. It wasn't even an infant, as I'd expected, but a grown-ass woman. She sat with her face pointed towards the window and sobbed loudly. At first, I assumed she was afraid of flying. But if that were the case, she surely wouldn't be so transfixed with the outside world. The thought of her being sad crossed my mind as well. It didn't sound like it. She just seemed broken. Before long, her whining had garnered the attention of the staff. A stewardess walked over with a concerned look on her face and gently tried to start a conversation with her. "Ma'am, are you alright?" she asked. The woman didn't respond. She just kept staring outside, crying nonstop. The stewardess gently shook her, yet she didn't seem to react. By then, people were getting worried. Whispers filled the cabin, people asking if she was on drugs or if she suffered a mental breakdown. I wasn't as much annoyed as I was worried, but something about the situation seemed oddly eerie. I considered opening my own blinds to see what she was staring at outside, but before I got the chance, I heard another person crying a few rows behind me. I turned around to see a man sobbing loudly. He too stared out the window. His eyes were unblinking and didn't seem to produce a single tear. In fact, his entire face was rid of all emotion. He just sat there, crying without moving his mouth. "Sir?" one of the neighboring passengers asked as they leaned in to help him. No sooner had he peeked outside the same window as the man before his eyes went blank and he started sobbing with him. Then a fourth joined in, and a fifth. By the time we realized what was happening, half the plane had broken into an unbreakable rhythm of crying. "It's the windows. Close the damn shades!" one of the passengers called out. In haste, we did as instructed. First, we made sure none of the still sane people got the chance to look outside. Then we proceeded to close the blinds by the crying people, each of us careful not to look outside in the process. As soon as we blocked their view of the sky, they instantly fell silent. One by one, their sobs stopped, and the plane fell into an uncomfortable silence. I let out a sigh of relief, but the small victory was quickly squashed by a panicked gasp. "They're not breathing," the stewardess called out. She was right. Each of the previously sobbing passengers had died in their seats. Without a view of the sky, their bodies had simply shut down. In the span of just a few minutes, half the plane had succumbed to an unknown curse. We attempted to resuscitate a few of them, to no avail. In the end, we just sat in silence, all of us in shock at what just happened. In the meantime, the stewardess were trying to contact the pilots. They weren't responding, and we all know what it meant. We'd lost them. After a few agonizing minutes of doubt, the stewardesses used their emergency code to open the cockpit. In the inside, we found the pilots crying unresponsively. We brought blankets inside to quickly cover up the windows and remove the dead pilots. From there, ground control gave us instructions and aided us in landing the plane safely. It was rough, but we managed to get to the airport alive. Once there, we were met by a team in hazmat suits. Despite our explanation, they couldn't rule out a possible infection. As we suspected, even after an overabundance of tests, nothing was found. To this day, I don't know what happened aboard our flight, nor do I care to find out what those poor souls saw outside the windows. What I can tell you, with absolute certainty, is that I am never setting foot inside a plane again.